Honorable Speaker Sir, at a time when this august assembly is debating the functioning of two important ministries, the Ministry of Industries and the Ministry of Trade, I believe it's imperative and vital that we focus on the national financial issues which have a direct bearing on industrial policy and also trade policy of our country. If I may, Honourable Speaker, with your permission, revert back to a whole economic expose that was presented to this august assembly by the State Finance Minister a few days ago as a response to a 27-2 question which I posed regarding the downgrading of the Fitch indicators. As usual, with his all bullishness, the State Minister of Finance went on a whole essay on financial and economic policy of our country. I was restricted in replying him because of the standing orders, so I take this opportunity when the Ministry of Industries and Ministry of Trade are being discussed. I want to use this time to articulate the present situation of our economy. Now, in all bullishness, the finance minister, the state minister, expressed a series of opinions, and some have gone on to provide him with accolades, stating that he had provided all of us with a lesson in finance. Now, let me bring to the notice of this august assembly, the present administration have failed in their duty to present to the country the second and third quarter figures for the economic growth rates. We all know that the Census and Statistics Department announced that in the first quarter we had negative growth, minus 1.6% growth. It is incumbent upon the Statistics Department and the government, the present administration, to put out these economic growth figures 75 days from the conclusion of that particular quarter. But this government and administration has woefully failed in providing these figures to the country as a whole, to this august assembly, the parliament. And since the government has engaged in hiding these statistics, a negative impression has been created in the financial markets, which does not bode well for our country's economy. Various international institutions which have a preeminent role in managing the world economy have expressed their surprise at this negligent conduct of the present administration. This government cannot express to our country nor to the international community the second and third quarter growth rates. What are you all hiding? Why are you all running away from exhibiting these statistics? The second issue that I have, Honourable Speaker, is that this government, through the 2021 budget speech, they have expounded the fact that state income, government income, is going to achieve a humongous rise from the present state of 9% of GNP to 14%. I would like to ask the finance minister, the state minister, when have we in our history achieved such a huge jump in state income within the course of 12 months? This government is predicting that state income will rise from 9 to 14% of GNP. This is preposterous. This is absolute humbug. This is an attempt to deceive both the parliament and the people of our country. Honourable Speaker, the so-called economic maestro of the present administration, the State Minister of Finance, he talks about the fact that the present administration is embarking on a revolutionary, path-breaking economic policy which no other government has implemented ever in our economic and political history. Well, in a sense, I agree with him, because at the end of last year, this government took the most ludicrous decision of cutting taxes to benefit the rich, the super rich in our country, thereby ensuring that up to 600 to 800 billion rupees of government revenue were given as handouts to the well-off in our society, to the rich in our society. What was the theory behind it? Through those tax cuts, the entrepreneurial class of our country, the super rich, would invest those savings that they would receive through those tax cuts to ensure that speedy economic activities take place within our domestic economy and thereby propel economic growth in our country. So, if that was the theory of the government, it's no different to the neoliberal economic theory of trickle-down economics. Through these tax cuts, this government has crowned themselves as the super neoliberalists in the whole world. 600 to 800 billion in tax cuts to the super rich. And he is trying to claim that he is the economic guru of this present administration. Mr. Speaker, this government has embarked on a policy, as I see it, of some medieval autarky, putting import restrictions, having a process whereby we are moving towards a command economic model, a restricted economic model, which stifles international trade, and we are somewhat moving towards an economy that is akin to North Korea, a failed state, a failed economy, a bankrupt economy. This administration is striving to disengage themselves from international activity. Kindly focus your attention to the statement of the EU countries. They are alarmed. When the EU countries are alarmed, we as a responsible opposition too are alarmed, because the EU countries are a vital export destination for Sri Lankan exports. The EU is talking about a one-way street attitude of the Sri Lankan government. If the EU countries decide that they reject the import restriction policy that the Sri Lankan government is embarking upon, has the government given some thought to the detrimental impact on Sri Lankan exporters? Has the government given an iota of attention for the loss of EU market? How it's going to impact on domestic employment? I think the government has not. Mr. Speaker, the international ratings are an important indicator of gauging international confidence in our economy. How the international society perceives the present status of our economy. That has a direct bearing on investment inflows, foreign direct investment. It has a direct bearing on businesses who are proposing to set up businesses in our country. Mr. Speaker, I ask you, where the whole of international society is looking at Fitch ratings, Moody's rating, Standard & Poor, and so on and so forth, we are the only country that is rejecting these international ratings. I would like to ask members of the government, is there a domestic rating system that is going to encourage and induce foreign investors to come to Sri Lanka? Does the government possess some magic wand which they can exhibit, which would attract foreign investors to come and set up in Sri Lanka and promote employment? දේශීය ශ්‍රේණිගත කිරීමේ ආයතනයක් තියෙනවද ඔය ෆිච් එකටයි ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් ඇන්ඩ් පුවර් එකටයි මූඩීස් එකටයි වැඩිය? මේ දේශීය ඒ ශ්‍රේණිගත කිරීමේ ආයතනයට පුළුවන් ද විදේශීය ආයෝජන අපේ රටට ගෙනෙන්න? Come on. It's a ridiculous argument that is proposed by the so-called economic guru of the present administration, who happens to represent the parliament on the national list. And Mr. Speaker, in his reply to my 27-2 question, he was talking of post-COVID, as if COVID had dissipated or disappeared from our society. Mr. Speaker, we are going through the second wave of COVID-19. And the State Minister of Finance, doesn't he realize that? Isn't he in touch with the grassroots of our country? Is he detached from reality in our country? He is mentioning in this August Assembly that we are in a post-COVID situation. We are not. We are in the midst of a second wave. But the state minister has failed even to realize that. So a person who is in cloud cuckoo land, who is in dreamland, engages and comes to this august assembly to explain the government's financial and economic policy. Mr. Speaker, I pity your government. That's what I have to say. These people, they are deciding on government economic policy while being languishing in the clouds, while being in seventh heaven. They do not realize the present situation. I will tell you, Mr. Speaker, what the government is engaging on. It is engaging on what once President Bush spoke of Reaganomics. They are engaging in voodoo economics. They are engaging in crony capitalism. They are propagating lies and untruths and deception to mislead the people. The present administration is hostage to super rich business interests and business oligarchical interests. So I want to basically state the fact that the state minister uses his natural suave to deceive the people of our country, going to the extent of deceiving those who report business within this august assembly. So I can tell you, yes, Honorable Cabral did give us a lesson, but the lesson was confined to deception, lies, untruths, and he gave a super defense of crony capitalism and oligarchic hegemonic economic policy that this government is implementing. And they're trying to hide behind their ineptness. This government is totally incompetent. ගරු කතානායකතුමනි, මගේ අදහස් ඉදිරිපත් කිරීම අවසන් කරන්නට පෙර පුංචි අවස්ථාවක් මම ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා. ඊයේ දවසේ මම දුටුවා මාතලේ දිස්ත්‍රික් මහරෝහල කේන්ද්‍ර කර ගනිමින් සෞඛ්‍ය ශාස්ත්‍රයේ දැවැන්ත වර්ජනයක්. විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ සෞඛ්‍ය ශාස්ත්‍රයේ නිලධාරී මහත්ම මහත්මීන් හැම අංශයකම ලොකුම අවදානමකින් කොවිඩ් මර්ධනය වෙනුවෙන් ඉතාමත්ම දැවැන්ත කාර්යභාරයක් ඉෂ්ට කරන අපේ සෞඛ්‍ය කාර්ය මණ්ඩලය ත්‍රිවිධ හමුදාව පොලිසිය ඇතුළුව. දැන් මොනවද මේ සෞඛ්‍ය ශාස්ත්‍රයේ නිලධාරීන් කියන්නේ? ලොකු අවදානමක් තියෙනවා ඒ අයට. ඒක සත්‍යයක්. ඒ අයගේ පිටුඩ වරද පටවන්න හදනවා මේ කොවිඩ් නිර්මාණය වෙන්නේ සෞඛ්‍ය කාර්ය මණ්ඩල නිසා කියලා. මේ මම නෙවෙයි කියන්නේ. මේ සෞඛ්‍ය ශාස්ත්‍ර නිලධාරීන්. ඒ අය කියනවා මේ කොවිඩ් ව්‍යාප්තියට ප්‍රධානතම කාරණාව සෞඛ්‍ය කාර්ය මණ්ඩලවල අකාර්යක්ෂමතාවය කියලා ඒක සමාජගත කිරීම කරන්න හැදී. මම නෙවෙයි කියන්නේ. මාතලේ මහරෝහලේ සමස්ත නිලධාරීන් සෞඛ්‍ය නිලධාරීන්ගේ වරදින්ලු මේ කොවිඩ් රැලි නිර්මාණය වෙන්නේ. ඒ අය කියනවා ඒගොල්ලන්ට පහසුකම් නැහැ. දීවනා නැහැ. ඒ අයට අවශ්‍ය personal protective equipment නැහැලු. එක්කෙනාට එකයිලු තියෙන්නේ. රටට රජයට කොවිඩ් මර්ධනය කිරීමේ සැලැස්මක් නැහැලු. බැරි වෙලාවත් මේ සෞඛ්‍ය ශාස්ත්‍රයේ නිලධාරීන්ට කොවිඩ් වැළඳුනොත් නිරෝධායනය කරන්න ක්‍රමවේදයක් නැහැලු. ඒ අයට දීමනා ලබා දෙන්නේ නැහැ. කවුද මේ සෞඛ්‍ය නිලධාරීන්ගේ ජීවිතවල වගකීම බාරගන්නේ? ආරක්ෂක ඇඳුම් නැහැ එක පැත්තකින්, තවත් පැත්තකින් රිස්ක් අලවන්ස් එකක්, අවදානම් දීමනාවක් ලබා දෙන්නට කටයුතු කරලා නැහැ මේ වර්තමාන රජය. ඒ නිසා මම අවධාරණය කරන්නට කැමති මේ සභාවට, ගරු කතානායකතුමනි, කරුණා කරලා මේ මාතලේ රෝහලෙන් පටන්ගත්ත වර්ජන රැල්ල ව්‍යාප්ත වන්නට පෙර සෞඛ්‍ය බලධාරීන්ගෙන් ඇමතිවරයාගෙන් ඉල්ලීමක් කරනවා, කරුණා කරලා මේ COVID-19 සටනේ ඒ ඉදිරිපෙළ වලල්ලේ ඉඳගෙන එය සටන් කරන අපේ සෞඛ්‍ය ශාස්ත්‍රයේ ඒ සමස්ත නිලධාරීන්ට ඒ අවදානම් දීමනා ටික ලබා දෙන්න. personal protective equipment PPE ටික ලබා දෙන්න. අවශ්‍ය පහසුකම් ටික ලබා දෙන්න. හැබැයි මම එකක් කියන්න කැමතියි. රජයට බල කරනවා මේ සහන ටික ලබා දෙන්නේ කියලා. ඒ වගේම වගකිව යුතු විපක්ෂයක යුතුයකම වන්නේ කුමන හෝ ප්‍රශ්නයක් කේන්ද්‍ර කරගෙන කවුරු හරි මේ වගේ මොහොතක වැඩ වර්ජන ක්‍රියාවලියකට යනවා නම් ඒක නොකර සිටින්නේ කියන එකත් සමගි ජන බලවේගය අපි කියනවා. දැන් මම දන්නවා ජනාධිපතිවරණය කේන්ද්‍ර කරගෙන අර එහා පැත්තේ ඇත්තෝ නිර්මාණය කරපු වැඩ වර්ජන රැල්ල හැමෝම දන්නවා. නමුත් ඒ අවස්ථාවාදී දේශපාලනය අපි කරන්නේ නැහැ. අපි කියනවා සෞඛ්‍ය බලධාරීන් සෞඛ්‍ය අමාත්‍යවරියට මේ ශේෂ්ත්‍රයේ කොවිඩ් මර්ධනය කරන්නට ඉදිරි පෙළ වලල්ලේ සටන කරන ඒ අයට කරුණා කරලා ඒ දීමනා ටික ඒ උපකරණ ටික ලබා දෙන්න. එලෙසම අපි කියනවා කරුණා කරලා රට අනතුරකටපත් වී තිබෙන මොහොතක කොවිඩ් දෙවෙනි රැල්ලක් ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන මොහොතක වර්ජන වලට යන්නේ නැතුව සාකච්ඡාවෙන් ඒ අදාළ බලධාරීන් එක්ක කතා කරලා මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ විසඳ ගන්න. හැබැයි ප්‍රධානතම වගකීම තියෙන්නේ සෞඛ්‍ය අමාත්‍යවරියට. සෞඛ්‍ය අමාත්‍යවරිය හැංගිලා ඉඳලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ. සෞඛ්‍ය අමාත්‍යවරියට සිද්ධ වෙනවා සමස්ත සෞඛ්‍ය ශේෂ්ත්‍රයත් සමග වහාම සාකච්ඡා ආරම්භ කරලා මහා වර්ජන රැල්ලක් නිර්මාණය වන්නට පෙර ඒ අයගේ ඒ අත්‍යවශ්‍යම ඉල්ලීම් ටික සාධාරණ ඉල්ලීම් ටික ඒ දීමනා පහසුකම් ලබා දෙන්නට කටයුතු කරන්නට එතුමියට කටයුතු කරන්නයි කියලා මම යෝජනා කරනවා. ඒ වගේම මේ අවස්ථාවේ කර්මාන්ත අමාත්‍යංශයත් වෙළඳ අමාත්‍යංශයත් සාකච්ඡාවට භාජනය වෙන මේ මොහොතේ මට සිදු වුණා මේ මාතෘකා දෙක පිළිබඳව කතා කරන්න. ඒකට අවස්ථාව ලබා දීම ගැන ගරු කතානායකතුමාට මගේ ස්තුතිය පුද කරනවා. ස්තුතියි.
Honorable Leader of the Opposition, during your speech, I think it is by mistake that you have mentioned that a country as a failed state. So permit me to expunge that part of yours from your speech, because that had nothing to do with us, I think. Yes, Leader of the Opposition.
I never mentioned failed state.
Yes.
No, I never mentioned. It's not in my notes. I never mentioned. What I said was a failed, incompetent, inept government, not the state. අසාර්ථක රාජ්‍යයක් නෙමෙයි මම
කිව්වේ. I don't know whether I have
අසාර්ථක රජයක් නෑ. සමා වෙන්න. එහෙම එක්ස්පන්ජ් කරන්න බෑ ඔබතුමාට මගේ
No,
ස්පීච් එක.
I have missaid. No. So if it had
මේ
been
ගරු කතානායකතුමනි ඇයි මේ මයික් එක ඔෆ් කරන්නේ?
no, it had not been off.
කවුරු හරි ඉන්නවද මේ රිවර්ස් පෙත්ත ගහගෙන අරගත්තේ මේ මයික් ඔෆ් කරන?
It's on.
රිවර්ස් පෙත්තක් ගහගෙන ඉන්නවද? එහෙම හරි නෑනේ මේක මේ සම්ප්‍රදායක් හැටියට මයික් එක දෙන්න ඕනේ ඔබතුමයි මමයි අතර මම කිසිම දවසක ෆේල් ස්ටේට් කිව්වේ නෑ.
But you can
No, I have not.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But anyway, if it is so, I will get it.
No, I have not uttered
If it
the
is
word
not,
failed
no
state.
problem.
I'm insisting. I know my English, please. Respect
No.
my linguistic skills.
No, it's okay.
I never mentioned.
I have no question about
I have
that.
never mentioned failed state. Failed state, failed government. Please understand the distinction.
No.
වෙනස තේරුම් ගන්න. අසාර්ථක රාජ්‍යයි අසාර්ථක ආණ්ඩුවයි
If it
අසාර්ථක
had been
රජයයි.
stated so, we will get it expanded.
This is ludicrous. I mean,
No.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I never mentioned the word failed state.
Yeah.
You're totally wrong.
Yes, Mr. Ponnambalam.
Mr. Speaker, on what grounds can you expunge the term failed state? There is nothing in the standing orders that can make you expunge that term.
It has nothing
That
to
is
do
an
with...
opinion. If, for example, if I in the course of a speech use the term failed state, you can't expunge that. That is my opinion. How on earth can you expunge that? What gives you the right to expunge such terms? You can't. That is entirely an opinion. It is an opinion that can be expressed rightfully, legally, to depict what we consider to be the situation. You can't expunge that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know.
To waste
Go
the
into
time
that,
of the-
yes.
waste the time
Yeah,
of the House
we'll see that.
and basically, sorry, what is it? What is the problem? Sorry, I don't. I don't need anyone's support, Honorable.
Oh, that's Sri Amatuma.
It's a very supportive comment from Honorable Gajam Ponnambalam, because they wanted to say that Sri Lanka is a failed state. That is what they wanted to say.
Let me handle. Honorable Speaker, I'm surprised by Honorable Jayasekara's kindness towards me.
Yeah.
I can vouch the fact that I don't need anybody's support because I have a very strong backbone. I'm sure he may need the support of many to ensure that he can serve the people of this country. And I'm surprised by the utter ignorance that has been displayed by the honourable member.
No, it's okay.
On the opposite
right
side.
Now
so
we need not go into detail about it.
Ignorance is okay?
Yeah. No. Leader of the opposition.
The phone goes off.
No. It's okay.
Honourable Speaker, I want you to have an investigation. Just now even the mic went off.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not done.
No. It's okay.
This is not done. Who do you have in the corridors of the microphone? Who is handling it?
No.
How can they switch it off like that?
Yeah.
Are they given special instructions that my speech has to be disturbed?
Normally when I start talking.
Really? Yeah. Are you privy to that information? Are you privy to that information? Come on, I'm just having a conversation with the speaker, right?
No, we don't want to go into
Sorry? Really? Thank you.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition,
Speaker,
we need not go into deep into it. So if it is so, we'll forget about it.
I think
it's
ignorance should not be tolerated in this house. There are so many who are ignorant.
Yes.
Thank you.
It has to apply everybody. Honourable Namal Rajapaksa.
News Hub, peopleizing the news.